I just want you to know that I am here with one tough lady, a miracle lady, Becky Womack. Many of you probably in this area have known Becky and her husband Johnny for years because they've been with us for years right around here. But Becky is truly what all, to me, just about Relay of Life is about. It is about survival and it is about hope. And that's what I've seen all these years with Becky. She's not one that this happened to her last year. And when we were talking, it was so interesting to me to hear the different things that she'd gone through. And again, it comes back to there's always hope. And I think if it's something you're facing, whether it's in a personal situation or if it's a physical situation, that there's always hope. And what's kind of unusual is Becky has been dealing with this since 2004. Now, I do want you to tell me a little bit about your story. And how, because I'm just telling y'all it's a miracle. She's alive.
We'd like to start about when it started.
Let's start when it started.
Okay, it was in 2004. You know, that was just 2 months after she had passed away.
That's right.
So
Our son.
We had that, and never dreamed we'd have this too. But anyway, I discovered one day that I had a symptom that most ladies should not have at that age. So I called and got in with the doctor. I need to share this. Dr. Beverly McMillan in Jackson. I don't know how many know her.
Do you know that I do? And she delivered my last two, and I adore that lady. She is, I can't believe that's your doctor.
Christian. She called us in after she realized it was cancer and bad. She told me, says, come in, Becky, and Johnny, come in here with me. And we had a seat there, and she said, Becky, give me your hands. I want to pray with y'all. She said the sweetest prayer for us and the predicament we were in, and all, and that just prayed that everything would be all right for us. And I'll never forget that. Just her.
That touches me so much because I'm gonna tell you, I loved that lady.
She is a lady. Got Bible verses everywhere on the walls. But she used to do.
Yes, that's what she and I are both kind of avoiding, and it's interesting about Dr. McMillan. She was a supporter and believer in abortion. Mm-hmm. And she was convicted during her practice, before she started delivering my babies, in fact, that abortion was wrong. And she made it a lifelong mission to...
That's right.
I would just say she found God.
She did. She found God, and she will tell you she found God.
And she was top dog, and so I'm thrilled she was your doctor.
Anyway, she sent us on, said, we have a wonderful doctor in Jackson, but I can send you to M.D. Anderson. I said, no, let's go to Jackson, Dr. Richard Barlow. He was awesome, and he really thought I had ovarian cancer in the beginning. Well, when he did it, because it was all over my body. It was all over my organs and my body, spots of it, except, I believe, 2 organs. And so anyway, he thought ovarian is what he named it. Well, when it all went off and came back, it was fallopian tube. He came in the room with a grin on his face. He said, we got this, I think. Anyway, it was a simple cancer cell that responded wonderful to chemo. So he started me out, and I was on chemo 1 year, every 3 weeks.
You mean that you, for a solid year...
1 solid year.
You took chemo?
Every 3 weeks.
I don't think I've ever known anybody who took it for a year.
Every 3 weeks. I took it a year. And it was tough because the first week I just couldn't even function at all. I cried, take pain medicines, but still I had to fight. It was not a lot. And then I did different things. Would you like me to tell about the little...
You can tell everyone of it. Oh yeah, I think you need to tell the good parts.
It is a good part along the way. I didn't have any hair, I didn't have any eyelashes, eyebrows, but I told Johnny on my good day, I reckon I was drunk, got up one morning drunk and told him this on a good day. My 3rd week was always my good week. I said, Johnny, I want to go on a trip. This is my good week. He said, well, where you want to go? I said, I want to go to Brett's. I went up there, loved it. So anyway, he said, well, you better talk to your doctor about it. And I talked to him. He said, good. I said, but doctor, you don't know how I want to go. He said, well, how do you want to go? I said, we're going on a motorcycle. He said, He nearly dropped his teeth. He said, well, honey, if you can handle it, go with it. He said, the more you can get out and do, the better off you. So I got my scarf and my hat, and we got on a motorcycle. There's 2 more couples from here in town went with us. We stayed up there a week. We did fine. I did fine, except it got hot in the cotton fields in Louisiana. But we cooled off pretty quick, and we went on and had a good trip. And then I'm the kind of person that one surgery will cause another one. I would just have adhesions real, real bad. So 3 of my surgeries were cancer. But I've had about 4 more, or 5 more, that were adhesions. And I had 2, well, maybe one of those was hernias. I don't know, but he said I was just the type of body that would make scar tissue around everything they touched and operated on. So I have to go in and have part of my intestines taken out, my colon. So I've had a lot of inches taken out of my intestines and my colon, you know, for that simple reason. And then that same cancer that was on the fallopian tube got on the colon. It went in the colon. But that was good too, because it was the same cancer cell.
True, Nana, that's right.
I was blessed. My doctor told me, he said, we are blessed even though it's bad. He said, the same treatment will get this. So they removed the cancer, and then I took 6 months of chemo for that one. And then on through my other treatments and everything, I did get very sick one time because the adhesions had just blocked everything in me, and I was sick and treated for a virus for a week. But we went to the emergency room in Jackson, and I got double pneumonia, and my heart got fluid around it, my kidneys quit functioning. They called everybody in, they really thought that was it. But the good Lord just took over and healed my body, and He's walked me through everything. Every surgery I had, I just came through it in blazing colors, and I know people everywhere we go, everybody would say, I'm praying for you. People I didn't even know, I'm praying for you. And we were on prayer list in 2 states, I know. And then people praying for us, it just turned everything around. And then we were blessed again when, for some little reason, I had a little spot in my stomach that they had watched a few years, but it was never anything there. I mean, they do tests. And my stomach had been burning a little bit, so they decided we better check that little place in her stomach. And sure enough, they went in there and did a biopsy. And that was cancer. That was just past year. And I believe it was April last year, I had part of my stomach removed. In fact, my doctor told me you may have to remove all my stomach. We really prayed that didn't happen, but he removed part of my stomach, and the cancer was very, very tiny. I was so blessed that it was tiny. And the doctors told me, said we get very few people with tiny cancers like that. Said most of them are too big, or large. But anyway, they got that out and left part of my stomach for me. So we got through that good, and it's just God's blessing has just walked with us. I'll tell you one little thing that I give God the credit for. All the people up there in the room taking chemo with me in 04. There was a bunch of women, and they had to have a blood count. You had to have a blood count back up high before you could have your treatment. Every time I walked in and they got my blood, they said, you ready to go? Let's go. All these other poor ladies, they sent them home. They sent them home. So I asked the head nurse one day, after about 6 months of this, I said, do y'all have many patients that come in and like me that don't have to go back home or get that big shot, the proper shot? She said, no, you're very unusual. And that was God there. My blood always be built up,
And that's
never had to go home. And all those people that I took treatments with, for they've all passed on.
Really?
I'm the only one out of the whole bunch in that, and the other one 05, 06. Yeah.
That's
So it's God, and I have been so truly blessed. And my doctors called me, one of my doctors called me, here comes the miracle lady. We see her coming down the hall, and she always has, she's over at the university, and she has students over there, usually with her, and they all have to come, I gotta tell them my story. They wanna hear it from the beginning to end. And they'll just sit there with their mouth open. You're like, I can't believe this, but there's hope, there's God.
And I think that's what we have to realize and remember as we go toward Relay for Life, which is on Friday night, April the 25th. The survivor reception begins at 6 o'clock, and the actual program begins at 7, and the luminaries will be lit at 10 o'clock. And that is a very moving ceremony. If you cannot come for everything, come for part of it. But most of all, make that donation to the American Cancer Society, because it is what gives hope to so many people. And you know what I kept thinking about? You may meet Becky in the grocery store and you have no idea what she's faced. We meet people every day of our lives that we have no idea what's going on in their life. And reaching out, just touching them, maybe just giving them a hug. Like you said, there were people, Becky had told me earlier that when she was on the Brenton trip, that when they saw her in her little cap, they would just come up and say, I'm praying for you. And you know, it is amazing. And it is that hope that comes through Jesus Christ that makes the difference. I look forward to seeing you at Relay for Life, and I know you look forward to seeing Becky.